Okay, hello everyone. This is going to be a video on the EBR 105. I did a video like this with the STB where I sort of broke down a 9,000 damage game I had on Paris. This will be sort of the EBR equivalent of that. I played this game about an hour ago as of recording this, and I figured, hey, I haven't uploaded my monthly YouTube video yet, so this might be an enjoyable one to post. What happens this game is nothing outstanding. It's not an unbelievable battle, but I thought, this tends to be an issue for a lot of players, myself included. The speed of an EBR combined with Himmelsdorf tends to be a lot of trouble as far as just not posting consistently good results. But hopefully, kind of the breakdown of my thought process and why I did what I did might help inform you guys and maybe even myself how to be a little bit more consistent on Himmelsdorf in I suppose light tanks, but more importantly, the EBR. This is played on patch 1.10. Hopefully, people can, I suppose, get used to the pings and all that stuff, but that's really beside the point. Looking at this game at the start and this countdown, we have two artillery, a manticore, very light TDs, which is not bad. They're all super dangerous, but there's only three of them, which is okay. So I can assume most of the team won't be camping. We have E100s, IS4s, E5s. It's very much feeling like Watt from, well over 5 years ago. But let's hop into this before we, I suppose, take too much of your time. Right here is the pretty standard EBR play, pushing down mid and kind of getting an idea of what's coming. And right here, right around here, we'll take our first pause. I promise I won't do this too much this replay. However, you could see I played pretty aggressively right off the bat, right? Once I realized there wasn't much coming down this middle lane, I decide, okay, I'm going to commit right down. I see the 268. You saw just like a second ago, I kind of did that first turn here, and it's right at this point I decided, okay, I'm going to commit because I think I can get a shot in the Manticore, and taking the light tank out, even on Himmelsdorf, can be unbelievably valuable. We get a nice round in there, no auto aim, all epic gamer, I suppose, reflexes if you want to call it that. But I decide I don't want to get greedy. I got a nice round in. I'm going to take that and run with it. That's a great opening to the game. We've kind of got an idea as far as enemy deployment. We knew generally that there's going to be a healthy amount of heavy tanks over at the 8 line down the banana. And I also saw the V4, right, when he was crossing from B5 to 4, that at least him and the Manticore are going to be holding around that area. The Manticore could push Hill or something, but generally, they're over there. Uh, I'm at this point kind of like, what exactly is my play? We have, honestly, I don't believe I'm going to take a V4 in a sort of lane fight. Obviously, in an open field, I'd be fine, but in such a confined space as Himmelsdorf, now there's an E4 there, I'm not going to push this. I'm going to, obviously try and get some eyes down this lane in order to try and dig somebody out from here, here, or here. In a lot of cases, you'll see people take um, tanks in this area on this rubble pile. It gives them pretty free reign of over basically the 1-2 line. It's really frustrating to dig somebody out, especially due to artillery just having not the best time, but also not the hardest time shooting you over here. I decide I'm going to push in, see if I spot anything. We do spot a Kron, then a Fox 155 on that corner. This is a really common position you tend to see a lot of people kind of hold the line at to cover the 3 line. And it's at this point I decide, okay, my team pushed hill. I can assume if there's any heavies on the enemy team's hill, they're going to be about the same spot that my team is. Um, that's one thing, by the way, and we'll cover this really quickly. When you look at maps that are relatively mirrored, you can see here the spawns are roughly in the same area. Obviously, we take that into account. But the hill is sort of a similar push, right? So if, for example, our team's here, you could assume their IS7 would probably be around here, or maybe even up here, actually, uh, because their tap is like a grid square closer. But my point still stands. On mirrored maps, you can utilize that based on your own team deployments, where the enemy team is probably at distance-wise or distance covered. Again, they clearly have control of the 1-2 line, and I feel pretty confident that a hill push is the play. The STB and the enemy Batchat are already pulling back, and I think we have the opportunity here to take advantage. Now, I don't know what I decided to do here. I don't know what benefit this provided, if at all. I think I was just testing if I could still get up this in an EBR. I don't know why I thought I couldn't, but beside the point, that is the least relevant part of this replay. We can see the Foch played really aggressive down the G line. One thing you have to watch out for, by the way, is if somebody gets in this pocket here, you don't see it get used very often, which is why it's so effective. What happens on Himmelsdorf is you have a lot of tanks that sit in this area, um, like we have here, the Type 5 and the E3, right? If you push, let's say, a Kronvong right into this, even Hill's going to have a hard time digging him out because the Kronvong is such a strong turret. That won't apply to like a Superconk or something because you can pen the turret roof very reliably. But my point still stands. If you can get a tank in this pocket, this whole lane basically becomes a free farm, and then it allows your team to push the 8 line, and, it's very powerful. And right here is going to be another semi-critical point, right? Because the EBR and tanks like the EBR have such little HP to kind of use, I suppose, I wait until I see this IS-7. You can see I kind of slowed down a little bit here and kind of waited to see if I should push for the UDES to shoot and for the STB to shoot. I push over, get a nice HE pen through the side of the STB, and I don't really risk anything doing that. Nobody, even though I drove into 2 tanks, nobody was ready to shoot. There could have been 20 tanks there. If they all fired, they can't shoot. It doesn't matter how many there are if they're all reloading. And I decide I don't want to push the UDES just yet. I'm going to let my team do that. I want to try and deal with artillery. It's a shame I rolled too low on the GW. A kill there would have been pretty comfy, but it is what it is. Now we're at a pretty interesting point in the battle. The score is 3-4, but that is not indicative of kind of the deployment and the map control. It wouldn't be surprising to me for 90% of you watching, outside of if you skip to the end of the replay, but whatever, excuse me, to assume that we lose this. They have near complete control of our base. I mean, there is a Foth 155, there's a Kronvong, a Batchat, a S-Conk, IS-4, E100, a V4 on base, for God's sake. They have a lot of support there, and anybody pushing into our base to defend it will get wrecked by artillery. You would very much assume, even though the scores are not, very, I suppose, far off, this game's still very, very close. This is when I decide to try and defend a base by myself. I figure, okay, I'm not really going to achieve anything if I go and kill the 15558 or the GW. That's a combined like 600 damage. My whole play here is I want more damage. Winning is nice, but I want more damage, and the damage is at our base. I decide, okay, screw it. I'm not going to deal with the artillery. I'm going to just push back and try and get resets, because they have 2 on cap. They very easily could have more, but the enemy team made a critical mistake. They decided, instead of pushing into our base to hold the line, they decide to pull back down the A line, which is such a painfully critical error of this game, and you'll see what the result is at the end of this. Now, right here, you can see the reason I didn't fire a shot right away is because it's really hard to see, but there is a tiny angle right here on the back of a 268 version 4 that is very prone to high explosive. I've done it so many times, I can't even count anymore. And I'm looking for that shot, just again, because of that damage. I have HE loaded. Obviously, I could track him, and we're good to go as far as a reset. We still have 40 seconds, so I'm not in too much of a rush. However, I decide at this point, maybe it's worth the Batchat instead. The Batchat clearly knows I'm here. Sorry to keep pausing this. The Batchat clearly knows I'm here and is looking to hide behind the V4. So I figure maybe if I focus him out, that will give me a little bit more time, since the V4 doesn't really care that I exist at this point. I'm trying to use some cover on the Batchat here, to no luck. I should probably have tried to hit the Batchat, but I don't think I would have had a shot there. So I'm fine going for a track on the V4, and now when he realizes he's in some serious trouble, for me, he's just going to look right at me. And this is a important point to mention. And it takes me some time, because this happens to a lot of players, and I am definitely guilty of it. it takes me a long ass time to decide I don't want to take this fight. If there's no harm in not taking every fight that you end up having in World of Tanks. Sometimes that HP is better off spent somewhere else. In this case, if I got hit by the V4, I mean, I'd be down, knowing me, 700 plus HP, which leaves me for a one shot to everyone, including artillery just getting a splash. I decide I'm gonna utilize the like I was gonna say hull, really the upper part of the Batchat kind of corpse to just back up directly. This way, I try and keep that in my way for as long as possible. I pull back, get a shot in the Manticore, a super low roll. It's a shame we don't kill him. And this game is entirely turned around. What should have been a very, very clear loss ended up being pretty much not that. You can see I'm having trouble getting used to the ping system. I tried to ping affirmative and I ended up just dropping a driving to position. I decide I'm going to go push the E4 off because I think this is where the damage is. I don't think I'll get to the eyes very much at the time. I decide to, instead of commit around this way, commit around this way, I figure I'll just run right across. I was unlit until about here. The time it takes your average Watt player to realize I'm here and then pull the trigger at this point when he's so focused, probably on the TVP, that's another thing. One thing I've started doing lately, and I recommend you guys do this, at least give it a try, is turn off the 16 times and 25 times zoom. I've seen so many players use that immense zoom in a scenario like this, just trying to pixel snipe. You know, really going in looking for a small shot, and it really really gets your tunnel vision kind of, what am I looking for? How do I phrase this? I don't know. It creates a lot of tunnel vision, is what I'm trying to say, and it makes it really tough to have constant situational awareness. I pull back here to kill the E4 because I realize the TVP is probably reloading or he just want to take the shot. And at this point, the game is over. 3,627 damage, 1,123 assist. No real problem. This game, as far as a bad result, it's not an amazing result. Like I said, it's not like the 9,000 damage game on Paris, but I figure, you know, I was kind of pleased with it, and Himmelsdorf on any light tank, let alone an EBR, I feel like tends to be an issue for a lot of players. I kind of fuck over that IS-4 there, that I'm watching this again. I didn't mean to. It's just, again, it's a hard time for me driving an EBR on Himmels. Anyway, that should be the end of this game. I don't want to hold you guys up too long for your monthly Watt video, but that should be it today. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll post the battle results right here in the video, and I'll see you guys in the next video, which I hopefully am going to go make today or tomorrow. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys later.